Look at this 2023 Nissan Frontier. This is an SL trim Frontier, so nothing spectacular. It's not a Pro 4X or even a Pro X trim. It's just a two-wheel drive SL pickup. But you know what? It sure is sharp. I think this is the best looking midsize truck on the market today, and that includes even the 2024 Chevy Colorado and the GMC Canyon, which are spectacular. I mean, this one is just, this is gonna look good for a long time, I think. It's nothing too crazy and over the top. Anyways, getting ahead of myself here, I'm gonna give you a quick review of this truck today. It's been snowy, it's been gross here in Wichita, and this truck has been, it's been on the road, it's been in the snow, taking me around, even in two-wheel drive. It hasn't left me stranded, and it's gotten through anything I've asked it to, but it's dirty. And you just get what you get tonight. You get a dirty truck for a review. While this truck is not perfect, and as you're going to see, I'm not a huge fan of it, I do think it serves a very good purpose to a niche group of people that are going to love this truck. They're absolutely going to love it because it's unique, even though there's not a whole lot to it. Stay tuned. So one thing about this video, I'm not going to talk about specs. There's plenty of websites out there. There are plenty of YouTube videos for you to go watch. They're going to tell you all about the drivetrain in this truck, the numbers it's putting out, and how it compares to the competition. But that's not what this is about. Today, I just want to talk about the real world operation of this truck and what you can expect when you get your hands on a Nissan Frontier for the first time and maybe live with it day to day. I've put about 150 miles on this truck since we've been borrowing it. And like I said, I've driven it in all kinds of inclement weather because as it just happened here in Wichita, we had about 6 inches of snow. And you know what? I've never driven a two-wheel drive truck in that much snow before. So it was an experience, but the Nissan did really, really well. So I'm gonna start here on the exterior of the truck. And I wanna tell you what I like about this thing and some things that maybe they could do better. Frankly, on the outside, there's not a whole lot I think they could do better. On this SL truck, you've got halogen headlights, fog lights, and it looks good, but it's just basic, right? It's basic up here. You have like a nice little faux vent here in front of the wheel. And down on the bottom, you have an air dam in front of the wheels and down into the front spoiler of the truck. And you know, it's not like the Ford Ranger where it just sticks out and protrudes, or even the Chevy Colorado. This one's nice and molded. Frankly, I didn't even really notice it was there. The truck looks taller and higher off the ground than it actually is because the front end is so well designed. Now on this SL truck, we have alloy wheels, as you can see. They're 17-inch, and you have some really nice tires on this truck. 265 65 17s. These are Michelin Primacies. These Michelins ride really nice. Surely they contribute to the awesome ride of this truck, and I'll talk more about that when we get on the road. Looking at the side profile of this truck, I really like these fender arches. The squared off arches look great. They got a nice fender line here, but this body line that comes across, it's nice, strong, muscular line, and then it tapers down in the side of the body. Onto the bed, same line swoops up and carries almost straight across horizontally. Now coming to the back of the truck, you're gonna see the tail lights here are LEDs, and these are really cool. The tail lights look really good, and they're LED. They do a nice job. On the rear bumper here, you get a color-coded bumper with parking sensors, tow package on this one. The badge even has a little white Nissan inset. Tailgate is dampened. Awesome. So a nice soft open tailgate. In the bed here, Nissan does beds really, really well. And you have a plug. You have bed lights, LED bed lights on both sides, which do a great job illuminating. That's in addition to the bed lights above the cab. And then this is the thing that Nissan does so well. Even my 2011 Frontier had this cargo system with the tracks where you can take these cleats and you can take them off and you can place them anywhere on the bed. That's in addition to these great tie downs at all four corners. And when you're transporting motorcycles and a bunch of stuff, as I was, this bed system comes in so handy, and they just do a great job with it. What you don't have is something like, you know, on the new trucks, especially like the Chevy Colorado and the GMC Canyon, you've got a storage compartment in there, you've got a ruler on the edge of the tailgate, and just kind of some fun built-in stuff. So I don't know, it is what it is. It's nothing spectacular on the tailgate itself, but the rest of the bed is great. You've got Frontier here on top of the grill. It's kind of another Tacoma thing, you know, with the the embossed name on the truck. And again, I mean, Ford started doing it with the Ranger, but shouldn't that say Tacoma there? You know, Toyota started that, I think, with the Tacoma. Everybody else just kind of caught on to it with the midsize trucks, and it's fine. It looks good. It's cheap. You know, it's one of those things that it doesn't cost them anything to emboss that logo into the bed. They don't have to make separate tooling for a badge and then stock it and stick them on there. It's just already, it's in the grill, it's in the bed, and it's nice and bold, and it tells everybody this is a Nissan Frontier. So there you go. That's the outside of the truck. I really like it a lot. Now let's move to the inside, where things start to kind of detour. I'm not stoked about the interior of this truck. Here we go. Okay, now going to get in. Let's just start to get into the truck here. I'm going to push. You can push to lock. You hear the beep. Push to unlock. So, you know, whereas competing trucks in the segment, you just put your hand behind the door handle. With this one, you have to press the button. So, not a huge deal, but it is kind of a thing. All right, now stepping into the truck. Let me start here with the door panel. It's a funky shape, but I do like it. The only thing is you have this kind of faux carbon with this inset, this silver trim around it. You can see it on the passenger door there. It looks good, but I don't know why it's there. I don't know what it does. I kind of, my knee kind of fit in it when you're driving. I kind of wondered if maybe it was to gain me like a ½ inch of space there. I'm not sure. But anyways, there's that. Very basic switchgear. This looks like the same switch set, the exact same switch set from my 2011 Nissan Frontier back in the day. And so do some of these other buttons. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and step in here, and you're going to see the steering wheel, which is the first thing that I am just not stoked about. This steering wheel drives me insane because it just feels like it's home wrapped. It doesn't feel high quality. And it feels better than my Ford Ranger steering wheel did, like in terms of like the feel of the material. But even then, I mean, you have wrinkles around the edges. And the most annoying thing about this is this portion of the steering wheel, this leather is, it's pulling up from this detent. You can see it better on this side where they have this detent, and on this side it's pulling up. It's not glued down. So I constantly am pressing this. It's squishy. I'm tapping it with my thumb. I'm very aware it's there. And on the other side, you can see the wrinkles here. It just doesn't look like a nice steering wheel, but the shape of it is fine. And the button layout is okay. The cruise control is fine. I will say like the MFI toggling and stuff, that's a little bit weird, but you know what? It does the job. We'll put it that way. Let's go ahead and just turn on accessories here. And I'm going to show you kind of how the MFI works. Now you can see here I've got your, just basic driving information, fuel economy, which is at 21.1 over the 150 miles or so that I've driven it. That's not bad. I haven't babied it, and so it's done really well. Definitely is the better of the trucks that I have driven lately, including the Ranger and the Gladiator. Some driving aids here. You can see the different driving aids, which work okay, I guess. Tire pressures. And then your settings. Now, this was the weird one. So this off-road mode here, okay? I've got a gyroscope that shows, okay, it shows the tilt of the truck and everything, and that's awesome. And then on the right, we have this powertrain mode, and it shows the steering angle. Well, it would if it was on. It's going to show the steering angle. And then it shows, the power going from the transmission down the drive shaft to the rear axle to the wheels. It says 4x2 there. And you say, okay, cool. So it's 4x2. When I first got in this truck, I thought it has an off-road gauge. It shows a 4x2 mode, so it must be four-wheel drive. And I reached down because lo and behold, this truck uses the same switchgear as my 2011 Frontier did. Keep in mind, this is 12 years newer. But anyway, where that switch would go here for four-wheel drive is just this, what we call poverty switch. That says, I couldn't afford to four-wheel drive. No, I'm just kidding. They call them poverty switches, right? Button blanks. And that's what's here. And I'm like, why do we have a 4x2 off-road mode? Why does it say 4x2? Why is there even a drivetrain thing there? And then not give me a knob. I don't know. It's weird. Also, by the way, how much would it have cost for them to put another 12-volt outlet over here if you don't get four-wheel drive? Like, would it have cost $10, $12, $20? I don't know. But could we not just put one there? So frustrating. I don't know why automakers do that, but it's annoying. Climate control with buttons and knobs, big thumbs up. I do not want to use this for climate control. I want to use that, and I appreciate it. Got a couple of USB ports here, USB-A, USB-C. There are more in the back, and I'll get to that in a moment. I like this dash shape. The overall dash shape is very cool. It's great. I like this over here, and you even have some stitching. This is not leather. It's kind of this textured rubber material, but it has stitching in it, and it looks cool. This cubby, though, is useless. It does have a rubber inset, but that rubber inset is not grippy at all. It's very slick. And what happens is I like to set my sunglasses up there, you know, a towel or something, and a microfiber. When I turned the corner the first time, these glasses yeeted themselves. It wasn't even a hard turn. They yeeted themselves into the passenger door panel because this tray isn't very deep to begin with, but then it has little ramps on the side. The edges of it don't hold anything, and so this is slick. Those are angled, and everything in there just flies out. So a useless center dash cubby there. Now down here in between the seats, you have a pretty useful cubby down in here, and this one will actually hold things. You also have some grab handles here, which are flimsy, unfortunately, but they are there. So if you're off-roading with your off-road screen in 4x2 mode and you and your passenger need to hold on, you do have these center handles. And I will mention that there's a handle here on the A-pillar, and big props to Nissan once again for putting grab handles in the rear seats in addition to the roof handles, the ceiling handles. I mean, that's great. So lots of grab handles in here, lots of grab points. It's better than a Ford Bronco in here when it comes to holding on to things off-roading. The shifter is fine. It's unoffensive. A couple of nice cup holders here. And then another one of those kind of useless cubbies in between the seats. The center cubby has a lot of space. It's very deep. You can see I've got a lot of things in there. So that's cool. Even a little pen holder in the lid. Seat material is okay. It's kind of nice. Seats are decent. I'll talk more about those on the drive. And the back seats, well, let's go to the back seats. Nothing spectacular. We have some rubber mats here in this particular model, so that's great. A couple of cup rests, or cup holders in the armrest, rather. It folds down. That's great. We have a 120 plug here and another USB-A and USB-C. And I was going to show you that. There you go. The AC, you can 150 watt, 400 watt on an AC converter. So very cool there, and yeah, lots of space. So the cool thing here is you can actually access underneath the seat without having to flip it up. You can reach in there and grab things quickly. On most trucks you can't do that with. You actually have to flip the seat. And you can see there's actually some space back here. You could put some things. Jack and stuff is back there. It's standard practice, standard procedure. And then you've got a nice pocket on the back of the passenger seat, but not on the driver's seat. This particular model has a sliding window. No rear defrost. Strange, very strange, because this truck has heated mirrors, it has heated seats, it has a heated steering wheel, has front defrost, but it doesn't have a rear defrost. And I really missed that when it was snowing. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And that's kind of the weird thing about this truck, is some weird stuff. You have a tech package, but it's like the bare minimum of tech, or it's a weird mix of tech. You know, your mirror is a manual dimming mirror, not a self-dimming mirror. So it's just a weird mix of things. I don't know. And then sunglass holder up here, so that's nice. I guess I should put my sunglasses there instead of on the dash. Okay, I'm going to jump back in the truck here because I want to show you the MFI. Now, on most trucks, the Ranger, the Gladiator especially, you have a whole lot of info here on the radio, and you can get navigation, but you can, on the Jeep, you can get weather, you can get radar, traffic reports, all kinds of cool stuff. There's a lot of apps. You can even do that on the Ranger to some extent, but here you've got radio, Bluetooth, USB. I mean, you can go to Android Auto if you plug into the USB, but Android Auto is where you're going to spend most of your time, I guess. They just assumed that, so they didn't give you much of anything else other than that. The nice thing is here you do have some hard keys that you can navigate with, but it's so basic, guys. It's really basic. And it's the tech in this truck. I'll talk about this more on the drive, but the tech in this truck is like the bare minimum. See the display with the start up there, the Frontier, that's kind of cool. But you know what? All the trucks these days are doing something funky like that. They're doing some kind of cool design, you know, when the truck fires up. Take a look at these taillights though when they're on. Sharp, really sharp taillights. Reason I'm opening the garage is I'm going to back this out and I want to show you guys the rear view camera. So I'm going to go into reverse here and look, it's not clean. The camera's not clean, but this looks horrible. And this is not my camera that's messing this up. It's not the fact that it's dirty. It's just the fact this camera is very, very bad. It's just very pixelated. This looks like original Nintendo graphics. Very poor. So again, tech on this truck, not great. The parking sensors are only in the rear, not the front, even though the button here shows like a truck with, you know, lines all around it. So I always assumed that it had front sensors on it based on this button alone, but it turns out it only has rear sensors. And so I whipped into a parking space assuming that my front sensors were going to tell me when I got close, and then I realized I don't think this thing has front sensors on it. So the button is deceiving. No front sensors, no side sensors, only rear, and a terrible backup camera. Now, how does it drive? Let me show you guys some drive footage from earlier. Well, here I am in the Frontier, trying to hit the road today, and I've got a lot of snow here. In Kansas, we got some snow, as you saw. The problem is I don't have any windshield wipers. You can see the wipers are stuck there. They want to go below the windscreen because when you're driving, the wipers sit below the cowl. It's kind of a nice clean look. It also gives you a little better fuel economy and stuff, whatever. But the problem is the wipers want to go down into the cowl now, and they cannot because there's snow. I've cleared a lot of snow and ice out of here, and they still won't work. I've had cars in the past where the wipers go down into the cowl. Volkswagen would be the number one. I've had a lot of Volkswagens, and even when the wipers couldn't go all the way down, they still operated. They just stopped short, and then they'd sweep again. On the Nissan, they just stop. You don't have any windshield wipers. So I'm going to get out, clear more snow and ice away to try to get the wipers working so I can drive. That is a design flaw to me, and frankly, it's not acceptable. That's a safety issue. If you can't have windshield wipers when you have a bunch of snow and ice built up in the cowl, I mean, what are you going to do? So, frustrating thing I found, a little nitpick here with the Frontier in winter weather. All right, so you can see there's not a whole lot of snow under these wipers, but it just jammed them up. I don't know. I guess it wants this cleared out under the arm. You can see we got a lot of snow, but I drove this yesterday. So I guess I'll get maybe that out of there. All right, let's try it now. All right, back to the truck. Let's hit the wipers. Nothing. I've got no wipers. This is not acceptable. Wow. Well, I finally got the snow cleared out of the cowl here, and I'm going to show you what I found that's causing the issue. So deep down underneath the wiper arm, you have this piece of plastic here that the cowl plastic rather. You can see, well, a piece of snow falls right in it. What this allows to happen is this right here. So this chunk of ice that gets wedged down in the arm. So it's not all of that really, it's just down in there. And that seems like a design flaw to me. I still have to dig out the this Swiffer thing. I'm trying to dig this out without damaging the cowl plastic or the windshield, you know, the glass scratching anything. So I gotta dig all this ice out of that little channel to get the wipers to work properly. I don't know about you, but this seems kind of weird to me. Let me know in the comments if you guys have seen another vehicle with a similar issue, but I've never experienced it. All right, so let's take the Frontier on a drive. Now, first impression, when you get behind the wheel of this thing, I'm just gonna tell you, it feels big. It feels bigger than it is. Like, I'm talking Nissan Titan big. A lot of trucks drive smaller than they look. The Ford Ranger, the Jeep Gladiator, they both drive smaller than they look, in my opinion. But again, this Nissan really feels big. I had a 2011 Nissan Frontier. It's a Pro 4X, and that truck drove the way it looked. It was, it felt pretty narrow, and it just got down the road just fine. But with this particular Frontier, this new one, it just feels huge for whatever reason. Heavy steering kind of contributes to that a little bit. The hood is unnecessarily high. It's unnecessarily wide. You can't really see over it. And the seating also contributes to that, while I'm on a rant here about the size of this truck or the way it drives. When you get into this truck, you feel like you're sitting low on the floor, and that's a complaint that a lot of people had about the outgoing Toyota Tacoma. That appears to have been remedied with the new Tacoma. I haven't driven one yet, but this Frontier, it's like it just stayed with that low seating position thing, and you feel like you're sitting on the ground. I jacked the seat all the way up. This one has a power seat. It's jacked all the way up, and still I feel like I'm sitting more inside the truck, down in the truck, as opposed to on top of the truck, like I did with the Ranger or the Gladiator. Even cranked up, you start to sit up a little bit higher, but not really. And this hood is just so high. It feels like there should be a V8 under this hood. It's so tall and so wide, but there isn't. It's just a lot of open space. The infotainment screen, the infotainment is terrible. It's like, I say terrible, it's not terrible. It's bad compared to the competition. We'll put it that way. It's just not great compared to the Jeep, or especially the new Colorado, the new Tacoma, the one here in the Nissan. Even though it's brand new, it feels dated. So off the start here, like off of a stoplight, the truck's very punchy. It sounds good. It's got good acceleration. The thing is that the pedal almost doesn't have enough modulation. So one of my pet peeves when I'm riding in a taxi cab or an Uber is when the driver kind of does this on-off throttle thing, and it makes the car surge. I'm like, can you not just maintain a constant pedal pressure? In this truck, I find myself doing that, and I'm driving myself nuts with these little inputs with the pedal. It's like it's on or off. And the same thing happens when you're going away from a stoplight or a stop sign. You get on the gas, and it just puts you back in the seat. There's really no way to modulate and feather into it. It just goes, like it goes, for better and for worse. That feeling doesn't really carry into the upper RPMs. The truck just kind of runs out of steam. And like I said, it sounds decent. It feels like it makes decent power, but it's very punchy down low. And I think off-roading, this could be a problem. Of course, this isn't a Pro 4X model. I haven't off-roaded it, so I can't tell you for sure. But to me, hopefully, the off-road settings are calibrated in the Pro 4X and the Pro X, the two-wheel drive one, to allow for more throttle modulation, because it is very touchy. So the steering, I would say the same. The steering's pretty, there's no off-center dead spot. It is, you turn left, you go left, and that makes for a lot of little inputs going down the road, which can be annoying. The lane departure on this truck will let you know if you go out of the lane, we'll put it that way. Listen to this. Let's see if I can get it to do it here. So you'll hear it. It actually didn't work there. When I want it to work, it doesn't work. Watch. Okay, let's try it again. Did you hear that? It actually just sounds like a rattle in the steering column. I can feel it in the steering wheel, no doubt. But then when the passenger can hear it and say, whoa, what was that noise? That's when you know that that feature is too loud. The Ranger also bumps the steering wheel, or vibrates the steering wheel, but it's completely silent. You feel it through the steering wheel. It's almost not enough. But with the Nissan, you feel the vibration. It's not a pulsing like the Ranger, it's a vibration, and it rattles. It sounds like a rattle. Listen. You see, hopefully you can hear that. I'm sure you can. It's very loud. It's pretty annoying. The heated seat works well. You've got a high and low setting, that's fine. Heated steering wheel is okay. The heated steering wheel feels like it's only heated in certain sections for some reason. And like some areas are cold, others are pretty warm. and so it's not consistent, and it also doesn't quite get warm enough. The Jeep steering wheel felt perfect. The Nissan steering wheel, it's just kind of lukewarm. It just kind of takes the edge off. So I've been driving with it on pretty much permanently while the temperatures have been around freezing here in Kansas. So I think my biggest gripe with the interior are these hard door cards. This is something that my Ranger had, and that the Gladiator, the first loaner Gladiator we had, it had hard door caps. The problem with the Nissan one is it has this sharp edge on it. I say sharp, it's just kind of a, there's no curve to it, it's an angle. And I sit my elbow there, the bones of my elbow like lock into this edge here, and it really fatigues me. It hurts, it's annoying. What's weird though is that right under that, around the door handle, is a padded, like, nice vinyl piece that could have very been easily put up here, just wrapped around the top of the door cap. I don't understand why auto manufacturers don't get this. We don't want this. Hard plastic on the dash, that's fine. We're not touching that. Steering column, even the center console, that's okay. But don't put it right here where my elbow goes. The center console, it's padded. Why is this one not? I don't know, but it's really a pet peeve of mine, and it's exacerbated in the Frontier with this sharp edge on the top of the door cap. So another nitpick that I have with this thing is the climate control. Now, I praised it for having buttons. A lot of manufacturers are putting the climate control in the MFI, in the screen, because it saves them money. Making these buttons and knobs and this particular head unit to go in here, it costs money, and they don't want to do that anymore. They'd rather put in an MFI. So I praise Nissan for doing that. Weirdness though, weirdness ensues, because first of all, the climate control in this truck is loud. I'm just gonna turn this on auto and listen to this fan speed, or listen to the fan. Now, oh, I thought it was max, but it keeps going. It keeps going. This sucker is loud in here, and I don't get it. Like, why is it so loud? Even the Gladiator that has the dashboard, really slim dashboard, very close to you, the vents are right close to you, the Gladiator's much quieter than this Frontier. I don't understand it, but the HVAC in here, no matter the setting, if the fan is turned up, I'm gonna turn the fan down. If the fan is turned up, it gets loud. So, sorry guys, I'm kind of on a washboard road here, and that gives me a chance to talk about the ride. The Frontier has a really nice ride. I'm very impressed. You can see it's a washboard road, and I'm comfortable here. I'm cruising about 25, you know, but in the Ranger, I would be miserable right now in the Ranger. The Ranger was harsh, but not harsh. It was too soft sometimes. It felt like a pogo stick all the time. And the Gladiator, depending on the model that you get, can also be a little bit harsh. The Mojave is definitely the best out of all of them, and we'll talk about that in a future video. But suffice it to say, the Ranger, not a good ride, and this Frontier on the other end of the spectrum, a very nice ride. So really, that's my basic driving impressions from the Frontier. A very good, you know, positive ride, positive handling. It handles fine, a little bit of wallowing and body roll, but really soaks up the bumps, and it feels like a solid truck. It definitely feels solid going down the road. So, who is going to buy a Nissan Frontier and really be happy with it? It's going to be people that want a truck that really is just a truck. There's no frills. It's an old school feel. More buttons and knobs than there is tech. Okay, that's going to be your Nissan Frontier, and that's not really a whole lot different than the last one, to be honest, because my 2011 Frontier felt like just an old truck that did everything the way I needed it to do, nothing less and nothing more, and I was pleased with it. You know what? When I get into this Frontier, I feel more like, it feels more like the 2011 Frontier than the 2019 Ranger. And remember, this is a 2023. Look at that beautiful Kansas sunset. Absolutely gorgeous. So guys, I apologize. I know that this review is kind of cobbled together footage-wise, but I wanted to get a drive in while I had a little bit of daylight, because right now I'm on my way to take this loaner truck back and pick up our Jeep Gladiator Mojave, which is finally getting out of the shop after a clutch recall. It was on a stop sales. I will tell you, I don't think we're gonna miss this truck, and I hate to say that, I really do, but I wasn't overly impressed with it. I'm definitely not in love with it. My wife, she hates this truck. Oh my gosh, that is not the review. That's not the way I want to close this review. She can't stand this truck. I really hate that because I wanted to like this truck a lot. As I said, I love the exterior. I think the exterior looks very, very good. So the tech's not great. The interior is not great. And the driving experience is just so-so. I haven't off-roaded this truck. I haven't spent any time like on a highway road trip with it. It's comfortable enough. So maybe it's a great highway companion. Maybe it's excellent off-road, but my assessment of this two-wheel drive Frontier in SL trim with the, you know, some of the tech package and the cold weather package is that it's just very mediocre. And